You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
It's Monday evening, and you're listening to Joe and Gemma on the Supernaturelle Show.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to this week's episode of the Supernaturelle Show. You are joined by myself, Gemma, and the lovely Joe, who's just completely disappeared on us.
Where have you gone?
We're back, Joe, and we're live. Good evening, Joe.
We're having a bit of technical difficulties, me tonight, aren't I?
Well, Joe is suffering from woman flu. So for anybody that doesn't know what woman flu is, it's very similar to man flu, but we still have to wash the pots. and with that, she's experiencing technical difficulties, which means that she keeps muting everybody.
Oh, I keep freezing you and taking like ghastly photos of everybody as well when they're laughing. It's quite funny. So yeah, I have to apologise because if you hear me sneezing or anything like that, I'm really sorry. But yeah. As they say, sharing's caring.
The good news is you can't catch a cold through the radio.
Oh, that is good news, actually, because I won't wish this on anybody.
So, Joe, how was your week?
Oh, God. Yeah, it was okay. I found a new place on Saturday in Scotland. Now, please don't laugh, but I know you're going to. But it was called Ballock.
You'd have to be very careful when saying that one, I should imagine.
Yeah, but this place is absolutely, for anybody who goes to like the Loch Lomond area or anywhere like that, it is just simply stunning. It's so beautiful.
You know me, Joe. I don't make a plan on visiting anywhere that I can't pronounce the name of.
Yeah, it's even worse when it's basically spelled ball and lock. But anyway,
easy there, Tiger. Are we past the watershed?
Yeah, it's 9:04 now.
So good week for you then, Flower Pot.
Yeah, just busy in work as usual, and yeah, the other half was back from sea, so yeah, it was good fun. But yeah, just now got this horrendous cold. So how was your week anyway, Miss Viking FM radio star in the making?
I know, right? Check me out, Viking FM tomorrow morning. Don't miss it, peeps.
Oh
no,
my
right?
God.
Do you know what? That was so funny. Like, I was just taking the kids to school,
As you
pottering along, listening to the radio, because radio is the place to be, everybody. Parasearch Radio, that is. And it came up, have you ever been dumped on Valentine's Day? So I was like, well, actually, yeah, I have. So I quickly typed out a message, and then Alex and Ellie from the morning show rang me, and we've done a pre-recorded interview that's going live tomorrow. My tragic love life. But in saying my tragic love life, I've got 4 tickets to what's known as the Galentine's Ball, which is just for women on Valentine's Day. How perfect is that? A film and Prosecco. I couldn't ask for anything more.
It's got to be a typical romantic chick flick, though, as well, hasn't it?
I think the winner was Bridget Jones's Diary. So, I could put up with a bit of Bridget Jones as long as the free Prosecco keeps coming my way.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome night, especially on Valentine's Day as well.
Exactly. I mean, what else would I be doing? Sat in front of a mirror, spoon feeding myself dessert?
Well, you could try it, but I don't think it's very romantic, is it? Spoon feeding yourself.
Well,
whatever.
So you tried, anyway. Yeah. So sometimes needs must. But anyway,
yeah.
Enough about all that.
No, I bet this guy has got plenty of Valentine's cards in the post, hasn't he?
Well, Shall we just crack on and introduce our guest for the evening?
Yeah, I don't think he needs any introduction.
Well, I think we should do it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please introduce you to the media whore that is Mr. Lee Roberts? Good evening, Lee.
Good evening.
How are
I
you?
can't believe she's called you a media whore, Lee.
What an introduction that was.
I know, right? You're not going to get there anywhere else, Lee. Parasite Radio.
You've now set the standard. You've set the bar. That's got to be the introduction every single time.
I have that effect. I mean, let's face it, Lee. I'm not the only person to call you a media whore, am I?
Well, no. There is a few, mainly on this radio station.
Well, you do realise that Parasearch only have the best presenters on their shows anyway.
Well, that is it. Yeah, that is it.
So anyway, Lee, we have known of you in the paranormal for quite a long time, and you are best known for The Village.
Yes.
So obviously, quite a lot of paranormal people out there all know. Well, I would expect them to know about The Village, but do you just want to explain to the listeners what The Village is?
So I came across The Village. Well, I first came across The Village in the 1990s when it was a nightclub. So that was my kind of local hangout. But then it was closed down in 2001. And when I realised that someone had taken it back over in 2014, I thought, right, that's my old nightclub. I'm going to go and see if they've had any ghostly experiences, any paranormal activity, and quickly went in there, got introduced to the owners, started running events there.
Why did you go back in and ask them about the ghostly presences and things?
Well, I've actually been talking about this today, and the truth behind it is I didn't really go in there with a view of let's run events there, let's go and see if it's haunted. The only reason that I went back there is because that's where I used to go every single weekend. I was a 17, 18, 19-year-old lad, and I thought that would be a cracking place just to go and see what it looks like now. And doing what we do in the paranormal and seeing old places and doing ghost hunts, I just thought it'd be nice just to get in there and see what the old place looked like, because I've not been in there for 15 years. It had just been abandoned. So I thought a great excuse would be, have you had any ghost stories? Because that will get me in there if they have. Mm-hmm. And it turns out they had a few while they was renovating and doing it up, and they was making it into a laser tag Nerf arena. So I started running events. Then we quickly decided, let's get this out there. It's unfair for me just to hog it to myself. So let's get it out there to other teams so they can experience it. And because of the activity, it's just snowballed. From 2015, that was quickly sold out. 2016, 2017 went. I'm now taking bookings for 2020. So this year's sold out. So it has quickly snowballed. Everybody wants to experience The Village. We have people that come over and over and over again. But it used to be, before the nightclub days, we found out it used to be a malt house. It used to be part of the building was a slaughterhouse.
See, that was something that I was going to ask you actually, Lee, because, we all know how much you absolutely adore history. So I was going to ask you if there was any history that you wanted to share with us prior to it being a nightclub.
Are you setting him up now, Gemma?
I've got a funny feeling Penny's behind this.
And I can tell by that laugh that, yes, Penny's obviously had something to add.
I only really look at history when I need to. And because I've been there so long, it's kind of been drilled into me, the history side of it. So luckily, I do know a bit of history to it. However, when Penny turns up at the village, she starts correcting me on different things.
Well, that's the joy of having a friend that's a historian, in all fairness.
Well, that's right, yeah. So the village was built in 1793. It was built purposely to be a malt house, but part of the building was a slaughterhouse. And the slaughterhouse was run unofficially. It wasn't supposed to be there. They was trading illegally, and that was quickly closed down within about 5 years of opening.
Still, 5 years is quite a long time, though. In all fairness,
it is, yeah, it is. But I think in them days, it wasn't. Things like that wasn't checked like they are today. Things just let go, and I'm surprised it. To be honest, I'm surprised it only lasted 5 years. I thought it might have been a bit longer. Being in the 1700s, I thought it might have lasted that bit longer. But apparently it didn't. The malt house lasted until the 1950s when Mansfield Brewery took over. And then they used it as part of their headquarters and then turned it into a nightclub. But we know even past that era, in the 1500s, before the building was there was a barn that stood there. And the barn was connected to the local farmland that was on the area, and there was a tunnel that led through to St. Peter's Church, which was used for the monks that was in St. Peter's Church at the time to hide from soldiers. When there's hiding from the soldiers, Henry VIII was wanting to take back all the abbeys and the monasteries back for his possession. And we knew that the barn was eventually burnt down, and 7 monks got burnt to death, perished to death in the same area that the village stands today. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. I mean, well, like I say, it's things like that you just trip over. I went in there just thinking, oh yeah, it was a really good nightclub. Let's see if we can get in there, and then realise there's these layers and layers of history and activity that just is there waiting for us. So it just goes to show that you just don't know where is haunted and where's not.
Now you see, this is it. Like Sam, who does PSI radio, yes. She's currently researching is everywhere haunted. So, Kerry asked the question when she did her live tonight, is everywhere haunted? I mean, my opinion is everywhere has the potential to be haunted. What's your theory on that?
So, I mean, a very good question. And I strongly kind of believe that, Sam's research in that everywhere is haunted, because my belief is that as in life, we have very little say on where people go. So I can walk out my front door and go where I want to within reason. And that is going to be the same in death, I presume. So I'm not going to have any restrictions on where I go or what I do when I die. I'll probably have more freedom than in life. So who's to say that me sitting here at home now, there are more spirits around me now than there is when I'm at the village or at Woodchester Mansion or at Morecambe Winter Gardens. Just because they've had more activity captured and people have done more ghost hunts there, and it looks the part for the commercial side of it, for the selling tickets and people going and investigating in the dark, and it looks the part. But that's not to say that a new build isn't just as active because of the people or the objects or the land.
That's mad, because when I was at university, my old university halls of residence were actually part of a facility for what we would now know as a mental asylum, which was Storrs Hall in Huddersfield, and numerous experiences I had whilst being in there. So it's not, I don't think it's just attached to old buildings. I think experiences happen in office blocks. They happen everywhere and anywhere. When, people always say that spirits are attached to places that they loved, and 9 times out of 10 you spend quite a lot of time at work, don't you? And
and the energies you're talking about, kind of, you've got the mental asylums and things. The amount of energy that would have been in places like that, like the trauma that would have been there. Obviously, you've got that residual energy that is there, so you're going to have that bit more activity. Hence, why people go there. But it's like you say. A lot of people say, "Would you dare go in a graveyard?" Well, for me, a graveyard is probably the least active location ever. Who would want to haunt a graveyard? Why would you want to go?
I totally agree with that. I mean, I'm not going to go to my final resting place. If anybody wants to find me when I've passed over, check the Bahamas. in a nice little bar,
Exactly.
because you're more likely to find me there than what you are in a cemetery.
Exactly. That is my theory. Exactly. Why would I want to go to where there's loads of dead bodies, where my resting place is?
Yeah,
I want to
what would
be
be the
out and
point?
about there. I want to be out and about. I want to be with my family. Maybe at Christmas time, you'll find me around family and friends. Other than that, you're going to be nosy. You're not
Of course
telling
you
me
are.
nosy people in life aren't going to be nosy in death. You're going to be going out and seeing what people are up to, what people are doing.
Exactly.
It's
I mean, I'm
it's
so
the
nosy
ultimate
anyway.
social media.
Of course it is. Yeah, exactly. See, I'm really nosy anyway. I like to know everything that's going on. I might not comment, but what I always say is I see all, hear all, but no, nothing.
That's right. Yeah. That
You
is
know,
Probably
exactly
the
right.
best way, though, isn't it? To be
Yeah.
honest?
So if I'm like this, living, God help everybody when I pass over.
Yeah, that's right. You can imagine like you're going to be everywhere and
Oh,
everywhere.
without a doubt.
And when somebody pisses you off, you're going to react to it in death, and then people are going to go, "Oh my God, what was that?"
Yeah.
Well, to them it might have been just a glass moving on a table, but to you, it's you've pissed me off. I'm just going to try and hit you with this.
Here's my revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness, that is a shoddy a shoddy bloody evil laugh, that, Gemma. I've heard you do better than that, actually.
Well, I'm trying here, girl. I'm trying. Honestly, Lee, you can't get the staff, can you? So
Brain's
going
not
back
engaging.
to... Pardon?
I said my brain's not engaging tonight again, as usual.
Is it the woman flu?
It is, yeah.
So going back to the village, when it was a nightclub, Lee, and you used to, as you say, hang around.
Mm.
Did you ever experience anything while you was partaking in the odd beverage?
No, and to be honest, even if I did, I probably wouldn't remember.
Or be completely incapable of noticing.
Yeah, just incapable of remembering anything in there. But no, in all honesty, no, I didn't experience anything. It was a location that I used to think, wow, I'd love to be in here, kind of on my own, wandering around. Even at the young age of 18, 19, it was still one of those buildings that you would think, I'd love to just have this building to myself.
Yep.
Just to investigate.
You just know that's where paranormal investigators come from, don't you?
Yeah.
Like I was exactly the same. When I was 18, I was working in a care home. And the stuff that used to happen was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I would think to myself, can everybody just clear out? Move all the residents out, take all the staff just for a night and just leave me in this building.
Yeah.
Because it would be amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, bringing it right up to date. I was on a stag do this weekend.
Easy there, Tiger.
We was in Newcastle, and we went into Tiger in Newcastle. Now it was very early. It was really, really early in there. So it was only about 9:30. The place was dead. It was empty. So I decided that I'm going to go on a bit of a wander. Saw my chance to go upstairs. And if you've ever been in Tiger in Newcastle, it's three
I've
stories.
never been the one in Newcastle, but is it the same as the one that was in Leeds? Different floors with different themed rooms.
Floors. Yeah, all different theme rooms, all different styled bars. So I went up there, and you wasn't officially allowed in there until past 11. Well, this was only 9:30. There was nobody about, absolutely nobody. And I was wandering around these 3 floors, already had quite a few to drink, thinking, oh my God, I wish I had my equipment with me now. This is amazing. This is fantastic. Wandering around these empty rooms that was complete in darkness, really big flash rooms, different style bars. And it was amazing. I was wandering around for about 45 minutes until I wandered into this quite bulky doorman who escorted me back down onto the lower floor again, explaining I wasn't supposed to be there. But yeah, and going back to the point, that is what I was like as an 18-year-old. But there, at the weekend I had the chance of getting in a nightclub and going, right, I'm going to take the chance, jump over this rope, and I'm gone.
Well, it would be rude not to, wouldn't it? Let's be realistic.
That's right.
You've just got to do it. If especially, again, it's a paranormal investigator thing. If you're told not to do something or not to go in an area, the first thing you're going to do is go.
Yeah, As soon as you see a no entry, you're not allowed in there. Or you'll be too scared, or we dare you to do something. Right, that's it. We'll do it. We're in there. Let's go and see. Bring it on. Let's have the experiences. That's what we're there for. That's our job.
Exactly. So, what did get you into the paranormal?
So, two things really. When I was 6 years old, I always used to get up and go to the toilet about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I always used to look under my bed for monsters. And when I used to go in the bathroom, I always used to look behind the bathroom door. And it was just a habit I got into. And one night I did that same routine. I went to the toilet. As I came out, I can still describe him now. There was a little boy about the same age as me, 6 years old. He was knelt on a cushion on the landing with the light from outside, the moonlight shining on him. He had blue pajamas on and he was holding a book, looking up at the light. Now, I can vividly remember that. And I ran into my bedroom screaming for my mum. And my mum came in and said, I was dreaming. And she, even to this day, when I mention it to her, she still lives in the same house. She'll say, oh, you was dreaming. It was just a dream that you had.
Parents do tend to do that.
Yeah,
they do try and push it over.
That's right. And I still remember that to this day. That was not a dream. I saw something there. And I still don't know to this day who that was or why they showed themselves. I never saw him again. And I lived there until, I was 19. So, who was it? What was that just that was just a vision of why, to get me in, to put me on the right path. So there was that. And then there was, when I was 8, I went to a place called Newstead Abbey in Nottinghamshire. And we did a school trip there. And they was telling us all about Lord Byron that used to live there. He was the famous poet. And we was being taught all about the poetry and the history of the place. Now, me being me wasn't interested in the history at all. And I was thinking...
that's not what I've heard, Lee, because I've heard that you're fascinated with history.
Yeah, I'm on it. And even at that young age, I'm thinking, this place has got to have some ghost stories. It really has. And we went into what's called the monk's room, and they was telling us about the White Lady ghost, which really did get my attention. And at the same time, I could feel my friend who was next to me. Now, you bear in mind, we're 8 years old. My friend next to me suddenly collapsed. And there was a lot of panic. They got him up, got him sorted. And he said that he felt a cloak going over his shoulders and being dragged into the floor, and then he collapsed. Now, that was like, we was thinking, what happened there? We was all 8. There was about 20 kids in the room. And from that point onwards, I went back to this school, and they was telling us to do some posters and some workbooks on poems. I did a full book on ghost stories of Newstead Abbey. And that's where I was hooked from that point, looking further into it, wanting to get books, get more research in the paranormal. And it wasn't until I was around 18, 19, I decided, let's get out there and get access to places. Let's investigate it more. And that's where I really started investigating the paranormal.
Did you, shall we say, mess around with the unknown before you was 18? Because I know personally I did as a young 13, 14-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
as you do.
I can remember doing a Ouija board in the school theatre. There was always that there was that one story of a teacher coming to school who died, and then they show themselves. That every school's got a story.
It was a caretaker at my school. Yeah,
that's right. It's the same kind of story that's twisted slightly.
Yeah, so but you have to go find that person though, don't you?
That's right. You've got to at that age, you don't know any better, and you dabble into it. And I did the same. I was the ringleader. Let's get in that theatre when it's dark and there's nobody there. And there was an old swimming bath, so it has not long been knocked down where I live. And I'm not ashamed to say, because it's just things that we used to go to. I used to break in there when I was younger, like 14,
don't
15.
do this at home, kids.
No, don't do this at home. No. we used to hang around outside there. and we used to hang around outside the plant room door because it was nice and warm there. And I figured out I could actually undo this door by putting my hand through one of the slats and picking the lock and getting in. So at one point we used to go in there, and then I realised by getting in the plant room I could actually get into the building. And there was about 6 or 7 of us. And one night we actually all crept into the swimming baths and went up to their function room and performed this like self-made Ouija board that we did in there.
On an old cornflakes box or something.
That's right. It was like we cut out letters that we'd made before because this was all pre-planned. And we got there and just scattered them out. And so, I mean, nothing really happened other than a few people screaming and shouting. And we was probably more scared of getting caught of being in there than we did of anything else. But yeah, I mean, definitely dabbled in things like that before I knew what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you see, I think that's how you know if you're a paranormal investigator or not. You know, most of my friends from school, the ones that used to do the naughty with me, the naughty. I know that does sound a bit wrong, doesn't it?
That sounds really wrong. That sounds so wrong, Gemma.
Well, not quite that north. I did say, did I or did I not say earlier on Twitter? You never know what's going to come out my mouth. I rest my case, Your Honour. So I see, even if I was to sit here and say my friends that used to dabble with me, again, that would sound wrong.
Yeah, that could still be perceived wrong.
Exactly. So me and my group of friends that used to take an interest in the paranormal. Does that sound better, guys? Are we happy with that? Yeah. So they instantly didn't like it. You know, the fight or flight mode that a paranormal investigation sets you into. They was instantly like, oh my God, get me out of here. I want my mum. I'm scared. I want to go home. Whereas I was like, guys, seriously, come on, let's do this. You know, let's push it a little bit further. Let's try something else. Like on the internet, it said this. Do you know what I mean?
I think when you get together with a group of people, it is kind of the whole, I know this sounds really wrong, but it's who's got the bigger sort of, you know, I'm going to stay here until this is finished and something will happen. And 9 times out of 10, you've always got that little one in the corner going, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, we did Ouija boards when we were a kid, and it was quite funny because one of the girls who I'm quite good friends with still now, she always says, do you remember when we did that? And we must have only been about 10 or 11. That was mad. She said, you know, my brother choked on a chicken bone that night. And it's funny how people associate certain things like that with Ouija boards and, you know, sinister happenings when they've been dabbling.
But that's not just in the paranormal field, though, is it? That is just in life in general. Because, like, the people that have fallen into a pond before they could swim, they develop that fear of water.
Yeah.
So when you look at it that way, like, I just think, come on, guys, you can do this. Be brave. Battle your fear. Let's do it together. Lee, I've got a question for you from the chat room. Joe, no disrespect at all meant by this. Do you think there is a place for mediumship in the current paranormal investigating scene, or do you think mediums on investigations have seen their day?
Good question. Now, I'll be very careful how I answer this.
Yeah, I would.
Lee, so you're all right.
Right, so I think when ghost hunting really hit its peak, kind of 2003, 2004, it really started coming onto the scene. Everybody had a medium there. Everybody had a psychic on their ghost gun, and I can remember running an event back in probably 2011, and the medium that I was using rang in sick, said they couldn't make it. And I can remember thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do without this medium there? How am I going to run an event? Everyone's going to expect one. And I ran it, and it worked brilliantly. Didn't have a medium there, and kind of ran it slightly different. And from that point, I've ran ghost hunting more scientifically. And I think a lot of companies have moved away from mediums and psychics being on ghost hunts. However, saying that, I think in the last couple of years, mediums and psychics have come into the ghost hunting scene more again. But I find, I mean, I work with Ryan Griffiths, who's part of the Hauntings team. He's a medium, a psychic. And although he is kind of very gifted, he doesn't use it like what mediums used 10 years ago. He's very scientific minded. He uses the gadgets. He doesn't kind of stand there and goes kind of, no disrespect to Derek, but I always use the pun, go all Derek Acora on you and going possessed. And,
well, to be honest, when you say medium, that is the first thing that anybody will do.
That's right.
Say it again, Sam. Every time, without fail. The minute somebody says to me, what do you do in your spare time? Paranormal investigation. Say it again, Derek. And I'm like, my name's not Derek, it's Gemma. Do you want to move on? That was so 2001.
Yeah, I usually get that as well. I usually get the whole, I'm not going to say the pun because it is quite funny, but you do get the whole, you get this.
And Mary.
Like, it's so old hat now though, and it's kind of like, but like Ryan, myself, I'm very scientific, and you don't kind of just rely on your gift, and it doesn't matter how gifted you are. What you can see is what other people can't see. So it's.
I think the days. That's why the days of Derek Acora, Colin Fry, them days have gone as part of ghost hunts. The platform mediums. There's a different wave of mediums now that are very more in tune with ghost hunting and use their gift alongside the gadgets, the technology, and also, when me and Joe first started talking years ago, I never knew she was a medium, probably till a year afterwards, because I knew her as a ghost hunter.
It's not something that I kind of really said to anybody. It kind of like, it was one of them things, I'll just see how it goes, and I don't know if I'm picking up stuff or anything like that. But I think I've known you now, Lee, for probably 4 or 5 years, probably.
Long.
Jeez, that long.
No, but in the paranormal, that is quite long.
But it is actually, in all fairness.
Yeah, but obviously then, when we've been to the village and, we've investigated there, and, I walked around with Lee on our own, and I was like, something's happened in here, and he was like, yep. And, there were just certain things, and I'll never forget in the village when there was a bottle of water that somebody had put down, and literally nobody was stood anywhere near it, and I watched this bottle lift up, hover, and then just fall on the floor, and I was like, did I just see that? Yeah. And then we tried to recreate it, and there was just no way we could recreate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and going back to the point, I think such as yourself, Joe, and I know Ryan's the same that I work with, and other mediums I know, you take great care in learning more about the science behind it and the gadgets and the ghost hunting, and not just stand there going, well, I'm the medium, that's ghost hunting is not my thing.
Yeah,
that's how it used to be. Yeah, that's how it used to be. The ghost hunter was just the ghost hunter and the medium was two separate entities. Now it's not.
Yeah, now they work together, and it is quite nice for them to work together, because we went to Hack Green, didn't we, Gemma? There was just females in the room with us, and I actually said, there's somebody here with us, and as soon as we said that, the REM pod set off straight away, and then we were asking questions, and we like to go back to this because that was phenomenal, wasn't it, that night, Gemma?
Yeah, well, do you know what? In all fairness, it was one of the best nights that I'd had in a long time for evidence and responses, because it was like the responses that we're getting were quite impressive. In all fairness, I would say intelligent, but who are we to say that it was intelligent?
But yeah, I do find mediums now are becoming more skeptical themselves. They want further proof. I mean, well, I do anyway. I can't vouch for Ryan, but obviously we like to know how the machinery, like technology works, and all the new gadgets and gizmos that are coming out at the moment. Then if that just backs up what you're actually giving, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, and you almost, and I know Ryan does. He almost questions himself. So he'll get something. He'll get then if the gadgets are verifying what he's saying, that's good for him. But then on the other side of it, if the gadgets are picking up on something that he's not picking up on, he'll question the gadget. So it's like a two-way thing. He'll question both sides of it to make sure that what he's picking up on is correct, and what the gadgets are picking up on is correct.
Yeah. But yeah, there has been a lot of mediums who are going back into the ghost hunting and being paranormal investigators rather than just mediums.
I think, though, it depends on what you actually go for, because let's be honest, the paranormal field isn't just standing in dark rooms saying, is there anybody there?
A lot of people still think that, though, don't they?
They do.
A lot of people who
do now.
No, a lot of people who go on these events who are quite new, I think they automatically think that we just all sit in a room chanting and, just sitting there.
My eyes was very much opened when I first started working the village, like every weekend and seeing teams work. So before the village, I was very much in my own little bubble, working my own little team. And that was it. Didn't really go out on other people's events, just had my guests come to my events. But then since doing the village, I've had, hundreds of teams come through the village, and I've seen how different teams work. Some work very, very scientific, very, very scientific. Some work very, very spiritual, like they stand there and put, protection up beforehand, they take protection off. Even to the point where I've had one team go into the opening area of the village and put a screen up, and they all went into meditation for an hour before they started the ghost hunt. It was all there for an hour. They sat in meditation with guests, paying guests.
But was all the guests spiritual?
No. We had some that kind of was a bit grumbly and left because they thought, but because there was all newbies, they didn't know what to expect. So a lot of them left with this preconceived idea of, we're coming on a ghost hunt, we want that scare factor. They didn't realise that what they was coming to was more kind of a spiritualist church circle development type event. But this company was advertising it as a ghost hunt, and that's how they perceived a ghost hunt, and that's just how different teams work. And that's what I've realised, that I've been kind of in that bubble of, this is how I run a ghost hunt, and this is how I know now that the majority run their ghost hunt the same as what I do. But you do still get those out there that have a group come and they are just full of very, very spiritually minded people, no gadgets.
Do you find, though, that people like that are quite set in their ways?
Oh, very much so. I don't like to say old-fashioned, but to me it is old-fashioned. Very, very old-fashioned.
Very Victorian, isn't it?
It's very old seance type things rather than actual scientific ghost hunting. It's not a paranormal investigation. You're not investigating anything. All you're doing is trying to open up and seeing what you can pick up and sense. And it's like having too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everyone's a medium. Everyone's shouting out and everyone's confirming what everyone else is hearing and seeing. But there's no actual...
It opens up the powers of suggestion. I can't even say that word.
There's no actual investigation going off. It's just a lot of people going, oh, I'm picking up on the name Mary. Oh, yeah, I'm picking up on Mary as well. Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad you said Mary and didn't change it then, Lee, because I honestly thought
she's got dick with her. but it is a power... It is the power of suggestion, and it is kind of, well, they've heard it, so I'm going to feel stupid if I don't say that I've heard it, or I'm picking up on something, and they are, so I'm going to feel stupid if I'm not picking up on it. So they also said...
The thing is, though, is when you work, I know this, I'm going to go back to Hack Green, because we met a really good medium there called Gary Fields, and lovely guy, and I was picking up on somebody that he wasn't picking up on. So we were picking up on different people. So I think if you people are, what am I trying to explain? I think when
you both complemented each other, though, Jo.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we brought different people to the table, didn't we? Sort of thing. And I think when you have to sort of like agree with somebody, I mean, Gary did say to me, do you see this? And it's like, no, I don't see that. But then I see this, and she's got like a green uniform on. And it was like, all right, okay. But then I'm sat there asking for more information. And the more information I was getting, the more the energy, I could feel the energy that was flowing. It was like, oh my goodness. But because the both of us were kind of working in sync, but not against each other. Because he's quite, he's very open, and he actually opened Gemma up quite a bit as well.
Yeah. Well, Gary's been to the village. And,
he has.
And
yeah.
One thing that I would pick up on Gary and with other mediums that have been to the village that I've worked with is I find when you have people such as yourself come to the village, you seem to get a more active night. And I think it's not because there is a medium there. I think it's the fact, like when Gary was there, a good few months ago now, he was, as you say, is very flamboyant, is very open in what he's doing, and very vocal in what he's doing. He don't hold back in what he's picking up on. He'll just say it and he'll ramble it out. That then opens things up for other people to then get excited about and mentally open themselves up to the suggestion that, well, actually there could be somebody there. Whereas if it is all just solidly scientific based, just gadgets, you don't have that. You're just solely relying on a light flashing or...
What about your own senses, though? Because I always say to people, trust your own senses.
Yeah.
If you're stood somewhere and you think that somebody stood behind you, or you think you can feel somebody touching your hair, the likelihood is that's probably happening. So,
that's right.
Yes, a lot of ghost hunting, paranormal investigating, whichever way you want to look at it, a lot of that is focused on scientific.
I always say my best bit of equipment is myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people tend to miss out the fact that they have got their own senses that really should be used.
Yeah.
We was given them for a reason.
Yeah. And I always say on every event, always think about, so before you even go on location, when you're sat in that briefing room, I always say to them, think of how you feel now. How do you feel? Have you got a headache? Have you got a cold? Do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? When you go in on that location, you're going to have a little bit of anxiety creeping in if you're not used to it. But your feelings aren't going to change much unless something's affected them. So if it's not a usual everyday emotion, all that anxiety that's creeping in because you're on a ghost hunt, what is making you go hotter or colder? What is making you feel somebody's tapping you on your leg? What is something pulling on your hair? That has got to be something else, because it's not an everyday feeling, and people don't realise that at times. People just think, oh, that's just my mind playing tricks on me. Well, why is it? Why is it playing tricks on you? And a lot of people just poo-poo that out the window of that's your own senses, when you should be using that. That is the most important thing that's there. You're on a ghost hunt for a reason. There's only you can tell us what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're seeing. Nobody else can say that. And that's the most valuable thing. That's money can't buy that, because that's that's what you're there for.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of ghost hunts, you recently did a ghost hunt with a very well-known celebrity female, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Katie Price, so she followed me on Twitter. So this is how it came about. She followed me on Twitter about December, not of last year, the year before. And as you do, as soon as somebody follows you of that stature, you think, oh, I'm going to give them a direct message, thank them for the follow. And straight away she was like, I want to do a ghost hunt. Very blunt, very honest about it. I want to do a ghost hunt, and gave me a number to WhatsApp her. And we started WhatsApping each other, and we decided we was going to go down. So myself and Miriam, my wife, went down there in the January of last year to do a private ghost hunt at her house.
Was it the one that she shared with Peter?
It's no. This is the one she's in now. So this is the one she moved into with Kieran. So she moved out of the newer build house with Peter she was in, and then she moved into this house with Kieran. Sorry, say again.
No, sorry, that was technical difficulties. That was me.
So when we went the first time, she was with Kieran, and Kieran was there on the ghost hunt with us, and we did. It was hard. It was hard work, and I know she won't mind me saying this. Katie's very hard to sit down and say focus on something. We was there till 7:30 in the morning, and the majority of the time it was Katie Price jumping up and down, shouting and screaming for something to happen. She was very much, come and do something, do it for me now. Well, you're not doing
in
it. Why
all
aren't you doing
fairness to Katie Price, you see a lot of this on TV shows.
That's right. Yeah, and that is right. There was no waiting around. There was no giving it chance to respond, waiting for that energy to build. It was just, I want it now. And if it wasn't happening, move on. Let's go next room. There was no kind of sitting and waiting and relaxing. It wasn't until we went back. So we did the private ghost hunt. Because of that, she wanted me to go back to do the reality show with her, My Crazy Life.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back and filmed there. And I said to her, before we went there, if we're going to do this, we need to do something, do a little bit more structured. You need to sit around and be a bit more quiet, give someone else a chance to talk.
So how exactly did that go down?
She good. By that point, we'd obviously been talking for nearly a year, and she listened. She did listen. She does listen to what I say, surprisingly, and she did. Although it is all about the pricing. That is it. And the first thing she said to me when we was doing the ghost hunt was, "I am very good at making people believe what I want them to believe. That's what I've made a living out of."
Yeah.
And you see a lot of things in the press all the time that look really bad for Katie, and it's not that bad for Katie. She, a lot of things have been put there strategically to give her publicity.
You know this story, Lee. Negative press is good press at the end of the day.
That's
because
right.
she's always in the papers, isn't she? So
I'm not a media whore for nothing. I know.
Oh, he went there, guys.
There is no such thing as bad press. There is no such thing. And there are things. So, for instance, when we turned up, so we filmed the show, and then me and Ryan went back again in the summer to do another series with her, and she even had her own photographer there that was taking pictures, just because she knows that paparazzi are all around her house. So she just gets her own in to take what pictures she wants to be released, not the ones that...
I can't say as I blame her, to be fair. I really can't. Good on her.
Why should newspapers... Why should a paparazzi get money from a newspaper when she could hire someone herself to get paid for it? She might as well give it to someone she knows. She might as well give the money and the rewards to someone that she wants to give it to and let her choose. And that's very much Katie Price. She's very much in control. If this is going to get out, she'll control what's getting out. And
can you blame her for that? If everybody had that option, everybody would take it. Yeah. I know I would. If I had a choice of letting something out myself or letting other people do their Chinese whispers, I'm going to say it myself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but Katie's very. I mean, going back to the paranormal side of it, she loves the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. I think I definitely got that opinion from. Was it Celeb Mansion she did recently?
Yeah, Celeb Mansion. So we filmed with her literally 2 weeks before she went in to the Celeb Mansion, and you could tell on there she was eager, probably a little bit too eager when she went in there, and she was still a bit in the scenario of, I'm just going to talk my way through things. And I think it was Jason Hawes that was saying to her, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the thing is, with Celeb Haunted, with Celeb Haunted Mansion, it is a live show. So, she was going to talk as much as she could to get that airtime.
Yeah.
Not only
That's
that,
right.
but going back to when we was all first starting out, we was all very eager. We was all very much, well, I've seen this on the telly, so come on then, give it your best shot, Mr. Spirit.
Yeah,
In your best
that's it.
Yorkshire accent, Gemma.
But I've got a point. We was all like that at one point. It is only through research, learning,
Yeah.
self-control that we've all become the investigators that we have.
Yeah, that's right. And I think I personally think Katie's learned from it. She is very much into it. We're still very good friends. We talk most weeks on WhatsApp, and she'd love to do another show.
Well, in all fairness, I
kind.
did try and get you to get her on tonight's show with you.
Yeah, well, that's and I tried, but she's one of them where she would say yes, I'm coming on, but she would suddenly log on live at 11 o'clock tonight and go, "Oh, what time's this show? Well, what time are we doing it again?"
Yeah,
she was supposed to be
3
on the
hours
BBC
ago,
last
love.
week. She was supposed to be on the BBC last week. And they got her on. She didn't turn up. She was late, so they got her on the next day. She was late again, so they just told her, forget it, love. We'll not have you on.
In all fairness, the
that's
lady,
the way
she's had a lot on recently because obviously
Yes.
she's been in the press. She's been going through a lot with her son, so
Yeah, and she's filming
family
at the minute.
comes first.
She's filming at the minute for My Crazy Life, the next series as well.
So you mean to say you could have got Parasearch Radio on My Crazy Life?
Well,
Mr. Lee Roberts, shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Move on.
So speaking of filming, what exactly is it that you're filming at the minute?
So what I'm filming at the minute, I'll tell you as much as I think I'm allowed to tell you. It's with Woodcut Media, who I know Joe's worked with before. Brilliant people to work for. They wanted to do a little bit of a different spin onto what they've done in the past. So I know when Joe worked there, it's kind of a lot of history side of it.
You love history. How many times do we have to say this?
That's why I took a wide berth of that one. This time it's very much more caught on camera. So it's not your everyday, let's just sit and watch a show of clips being caught on camera. It's going to have a theme through the show of A, things that have been caught on camera. B, let's go and investigate and talk to people that have seen things on camera. But thirdly, let's get investigators into locations where things have been caught on camera. Let's see if we can recreate it. How did that happen? Can it be explained scientifically? And if not, can we recreate it and just say, well, it is unexplainable. So we've got 3 investigators on there. We're not all investigating together. We're all investigating separately.
Can you
so
name
we're out
them?
on his own.
I was just going to say, who is it? Who's on it?
I'm not going to say. I think it's down to them to say if they want to. I'm not sure whether I'm.
I think I've got a good
I've got
idea.
one lady in the chat room that's doing research for the show at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you probably all know who the 3 are. You'll probably know who 2 of us are. But yeah, definitely 3. But it's down to them to reveal. But we're all going to be investigating separately. So we're out on his own, doing his own episode.
I like the sound of that. In all
be
fairness.
Good. And then as well as that, we're going to have some experts as well, or claim to be experts, but experts in their field, as in psychologists, parapsychologists that are going to come in. And so, although we're reviewing other people's activity and trying to recreate it and investigating it, we're going to get people that are going to then look at our investigations. And
but surely that's going to make for better viewing, because I know I've said for a long time that I think the TV shows needed a bit of a shake-up, and we got that when the guys from UK Haunted came along and started doing their lives. That was for really TV or in conjunction with that was really good. And then obviously from what you've just said, I like the sound of that, because you're not just getting it from one angle, you're getting it from 3, and you've got every single different approach coming at it. Apart from, I mean, have you got anybody from the spiritual side? I know you've got the psychology, you've got
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know who the panel is. All I've been told
Right.
is there will be a panel, that there is going to be some kind of scientist, some kind of parapsychologist, some kind of psychologist, but I'm not sure whether we've got that spiritualist angle. However, I know the people that are involved in the investigation do look at that side as well. I certainly look at the spiritual side as well as the scientific side. And I know the other investigators are very much open to that and not kind of discount that. We look into all sides. So I'm hoping that comes across in the investigations, and then the parapsychologist and the psychologist can do their thing.
Psychology brings a lot into the paranormal field, but people just don't tend to realise how much.
Massively. So it's going to be good. I think we've got apparently we've got clips from all over the world of little clips. So that's kind of the C stories. Then you've got B stories that are where we go and talking to people that have witnessed things, and they can recreate it themselves. But then we've got the A stories, which are the investigators actually going out onto the location. So it will make for a fun, full-packed hour show of lots of activity, lots of things being caught on camera, lots of investigation, and then also the panel in there as well.
Any ideas when that's going to be aired?
I believe towards the end of May, I've been told, and I think that's official anyway. I think that was on the press release that was brought out. They're hoping for May. But there's no official date, as we know. There's been early days, but
they're a
farm
company though, a woodcut, and if they say they're going to do something, they are going to do it. And I've worked with them in the past, and they are fantastic. And I think they've kind of taken their spin on the paranormal to be, to become, I think, quite a force to be reckoned with in the future. If I'm honest.
I know when I went down to speak to them last November time, I think it was, when my first meeting with them, I was very impressed with the way they approach the paranormal, the way they see the paranormal going as in TV world. And that, they impressed me as in they don't want it to be just let's go and investigate and throw stones at everybody. Let's actually bring it, strip it back and make it real life, with real people and real investigators that we all know and talk to, within the community, not just people that are, dragged in, that have been on telly for years and years. They're actually bringing people in that we all know and relate to.
You see, this is it. I mean, a lot of people that have been on TV. I'm not saying that they're not paranormal investigators, but they've been there for years, and in all fairness, sometimes it can get a bit stale, and I think you need new people to come along and shake it up.
I've already put this statement out there, and I'm not scared of putting the statement out again. If there wasn't a Most Haunted, there is no way that Yvette Fielding or Carl Beattie would be out there investigating the paranormal. They'd be sat in their pad thinking about what else they can film. They're not paranormal investigators, and that's quite a statement that I've always put out there, and that's no disrespect to what they've done in the field, but they're not paranormal investigators. They're directors, cameraman, and a TV presenter, and that's just a simple fact of it. It's now 2019. It's time for paranormal investigators, people that have got a passion in the paranormal, that have done it for years and years, that are in the community,
and that's what it is. It's passion.
Yeah.
You see, and a lot of people, like, as small as the paranormal community is, although it is growing rapidly, a lot of people don't know other people's potential. I know I like to put out there that I'm a bit of an idiot, and people will look at me and go, who is she? But do you know what? People don't actually know what I'm capable of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just a persona that I like to put out there. I like people to underestimate me because watch out, because here I come.
Yeah. And there's also that side of us where there's a group that all get on and we all have a laugh, and you've got that realism, that sense of humour within the investigations.
Oh God, yeah. I think you need that though.
Yeah, and it's real, and it's what brings energy. And there's so many people out there. You got Mickey and Alex, the UK Haunted lads, like fantastic lads. You got Danny Moss, like young lad, fantastic in front of camera, brilliant, knows his stuff. Ashley Buckingham, who was on Celebrity Ghost Hunt, really nice young lad, dead enthusiastic. you guys, there's Barry that does a lot of shows. There's loads of people out there that would make fantastic shows. Fantastic shows.
I won't rely on me for that though, Lee, because you never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
Hang on a minute. I was just about to sit there and say every single person, Lee, that you mentioned then are all male.
Did I not say any female?
On the yours too. Yeah,
well, I did say you,
quick, get thinking of females.
I didn't any of you guys. I meant obviously yourselves and Penny. And you obviously worked with Hazel recently, being in the press.
It's all right, Lee. We'll let you dig yourself out of that hole, love. Honestly. Right, a couple of questions. I know we are going over, and I'm so sorry, everybody. But once we get chatting, you can't shut us up. So Michael has got a question for you in the chat room, Lee. If you could hunt any place you want, where would it be and why?
Alcatraz.
Me too. Take me with you.
Alcatraz. Basically,
don't leave me there.
I just think, and I mentioned this earlier about asylums. The energy that would be in there, the trauma that would have been caused in there, the people that are just sitting down in cells and just, the things that are going through their mind are just, their people are at the lowest of the low, and they are capable at that point of anything. Their mind will be just everywhere.
Once you're at the lowest form, you've got you can't go any lower.
That's right, and that's where hundreds of people were. And I just believe that Alcatraz, and it's isolated as well. It's not like any other prison that is around where you can just jump out and run across a field. This is isolated. It's out of the way. So people in there felt like there was nowhere to go.
That is one that is on my bucket list too. That is one that and for exactly the same reasons. I'm so sorry if everybody can hear my dog choking. It's so rude walking in and just starts choking.
I thought it was Joe.
Yeah, but that question brings us on to another question that's in the chat room. With all the serial killer hype at the moment with the Bundy tapes, if you could speak to any serial killer, who would it be?
Oh, good question. I mean, Ted Bundy he is up there. And I know you've just mentioned it is a bit of a cop-out answer. I was trying to think of somebody else other than Ted Bundy, but it would have been Ted Bundy just because of he seemed to have everything. He studied law. He was a good-looking bloke. There was, other than obviously his weird, troubled mindset, he had everything going for him. So, and he was somebody nobody expected to be doing what he was doing. You've got other people. Your Fred West of the world that were more kind of council living. I don't want to disrespect anything, but there was more kind of down living on the dole and down in the dumps, and you can see that they was scrounging and
struggling,
and they probably got off on it, and same as Ted Bundy would have done. But there was just, for me, there was no reason for Ted Bundy to be doing that, and at that point.
But he had a bit of a troubled life, in all fairness. When you actually research into it, because again, history, and you love research. But I mean, swiftly moving on. We are so out of time. I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to power through these questions because that's what we're here for.
Why not?
What's it like working with Ryan and his medium abilities? Does it help out on events?
Is that from Ryan?
No. Although we did say you better give him a name drop, otherwise you're in trouble.
Ryan's brilliant. He's a good lad, and he doesn't really use his medium abilities that much when we do investigations. He uses them more on events when we're doing the events, but when we're doing our lives, he doesn't really use them much. But like we picked on it earlier, I think it's a good thing nowadays to have that option there to kind of pick somebody's brain with what are you picking up on.
It's the way forward, isn't it? Working hand in hand.
Yeah, I think sometimes if the gadgets aren't going to pick up on something 24/7, it's not going to happen all the time, and it's just that other option, just to go, are you picking up on anything? Is there anything here? Yeah.
With a piece of equipment, it malfunctions when the batteries are running out. A human doesn't necessarily, well, apart from Jo. Jo malfunctions, bless her, when she's got woman flu. But,
not just that, when I've had Haribos as well.
And I've got another question, bless you. I mean, not many people are going to be aware that you've got this illness, Lee, but it has been brought to my attention, so it'd be rude not to comment on it. When was you diagnosed with foot and mouth disease?
What?
That is from the lovely MJ Dixon. She just said, I've got a question for Lee. When was he diagnosed with foot and mouth disease?
Probably just now.
Just now, yeah. And that was in regards to not mentioning any ladies, by the way, foot and mouth, digging your way out. So, yeah, she's not actually losing the plot.
Yeah, well... Yeah, I'm making no more comments on that.
Are you going into hiding now, Lou?
I'm just above the parapet now, so I'm not going to go back down again.
Yeah, I'd be careful if I were you. Honestly, though, guys, listening at home, thank you so much for listening. Media Hall, what can I say? It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
I can't believe you said that.
He calls himself a Media Hall. Why should I
not?
Don't
worry about it. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been an amazing show. And I think, if possible, Lee, when your show was aired on TV, if we could do a repeat show with yourself and some of the other people that are in it too,
yeah, you can.
That would be awesome.
ask them in the chat room. Don't
well, I've just put it out there, so I will expect messages, people. But honestly, Lee,
definitely.
Thank you so much for tonight. You've been an absolute star. And for everybody listening at home, thank you so much. I'm sorry that we've run over. If you do miss any shows during the week, check it out on YouTube or on Spreaker. If you do want to, and I'm just putting this one out there, but if you do want to, well, it's not more of a want.
I'm waiting.
It's more of a do it. Don't forget to hit that click, like, share, and subscribe button, people. Thank you so much for listening. And from me, it's good night.
And from me, who's got woman flu, it's good night.
And Mr. Lee Roberts.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Speak soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.